All right, do it up.
Oh, what did I do? Hang on a second.
I'm already live.
Okay.
Hey guys, give us a
Hey,
second.
what's up? What's up, everybody?
You got it. You got it teed up.
I'm gonna tee it up right now. Here we go.
Let me get out of that screen.
Oh,
We're like
weird.
rookies.
There we go.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Little easy listening music to let everybody in the room.
Hello, everybody. And welcome to the Forrest Fenn Birthday Remembrance, Copper Dan and Packer Jack, where smooth jazz and imagination are more important than knowledge without a D. Davio. Hello, JK Pioneer.
Kill it.
Woo! How's it going?
Hey, we're back.
Long time no
I've
see.
noticed if you pull the mic really close like this,
Yeah, so you can talk in seductive
Talking to-
tones.
a really mysterious voice.
Hello, Lorraine and Debbie, Ghost Dancer, JK, Lucky Diggers here for the happy 92nd birthday to Forrest.
That's right.
So you texted me this morning, hey, I'm watching the Hot Wings Challenge video and laughing my A off. And then like a half an hour later, you sent me what?
I sent you. I come up with this harebrained idea, like we should go live. So I'm like, well, it is Monday, and it's normally the call lasers night, but I messaged Mike, and Mike gave me the green light, and here we are. But yeah, you guys, I may have to come on to do this hot wing challenge. But we need to get some, apparently we need to get some hotter wings. I don't know that Jeremy's going to want to be a part of that, but.
No, I don't know if Jeremy's going to want to be a part of that either, but I'll be happy to, but I don't know if I'll ever do the bomb sauce ever again. That was,
I didn't get that. I didn't get to the end. I got sidetracked, so I haven't got to finish it. So you did the bomb sauce.
Yes.
And it was spicy.
It was very spicy. Yeah, it was, I was recalling Frank and Anna's Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York, where wings were invented. And if that story is that her son and two of his college buddies came into the bar after closing time, and Anna was shutting down the kitchen, and they're like, Mom, we're hungry, or she wanted to feed them because they were probably inebriated or whatever. And so she threw a bunch of chicken wings, fried them up with butter, and then loaded them up with hot sauce. And all she had was celery and some blue cheese dressing she was going to throw out for them to use as dip. And that's how it all started back in Buffalo, New York. So I had the Inferno wings there, and I just used to eat so much hot stuff and drink a lot of beer back then that, I don't know if the bomb was as hot as that or not, but to me, on Saturday, that was the hottest sauce I've ever had. And that's the one they end the Hot One show with. So,
I grew up, my mom doesn't like black pepper, like table salt and pepper. That's to her is adding spice to your food. So I didn't grow up with anything hot. So it wasn't until probably after college I started dabbling with hotter foods and finding, hey, I kind of like these. And not my neighbor made me used to live behind me, was a chef, and he made some seriously hot stuff. So he took some habaneros and jazzed up some chili and handed it over the fence, handed me a little cup, and I'm sitting there eating it, and I start getting the hiccups,
oh geez.
which is not a good sign. And I'm like, I said, I'll be back. I had to go get a glass of milk. I just couldn't do it. It was hot.
Yeah. Well, I put this
80-page PowerPoint together first.
No, this was
Buckle up,
just
people.
to remember why we're here. And we Dan used this thumbnail, asked me if we could do a thumbnail. It was sending birthday wishes from all those you left behind. We will meet again, but until then, we remember you with so much fondness. And Dan, you and I are friends because of Forrest.
We made a lot of good friends because of that old part.
Right. Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Tyler. Hey, Mark. Hey, Hope. Hey, Dak. Man, Davio, Hell's Canyon, Lucky Digger, a lot of old friends here. Great to have you back with us again. And obviously for the importance of August 22nd. And
yeah, guys, my biggest reason is I didn't see anyone earlier that was saying, I was looking like anyone going live tonight. It is Forrest's birthday. And Candy hadn't put her thing together yet. So I'm like, well, someone's got to go live. Might as well.
Yeah, I was messaging her until I got busy and did a You Don't Know Jack. So we're actually going to have a You Don't Know Jack tonight, even though I did it like a half an hour ago. So I was busy making PowerPoint slides.
Is there anything left that we don't know about Jack?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot we don't know, but I'm sure, there's only one person here that actually knows Jack. So.
And that's who?
Copper Dan. So yeah, in a few minutes, we will have the 20th episode of You Don't Know Jack, believe it or not, tonight in honor of Forrest and Jack. So here's how the day went. I decided to do a boots on the ground because I thought I figured out one of the other hunts that's going on out there. And I'm not going to tell you whether I flew or drove, but I was out of state, and whether I flew or drove back. But I had a two very early morning meetings, and then Dan was texting me, "Hey, you want to go live?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I'm like, "I don't know if I'm going to get back in time." And
you were deep. Were you deep into Minnesota?
I'm not going to tell you where I was, but because I still believe that it's at this location. I didn't realize the amount of area that besides the spot where I thought it might be needs to be searched. And I know I'll get back there. But based on the way that hunt is going, I thought it was important to get down or up or over or diagonally or in the sky or by sea to the location. And that's what I did today. And I got back, I think, drove in my driveway at 7:30 and ate, changed, told some more people were going on. I exchanged with Candy. I was going to try to get on her show if I could before we got on, but I got busy doing You Don't Know Jack slides. And I know after we do that, Dan, we can decide, we can talk about if we want to do open panel and see
open line Friday.
Some of our old friends join us out there with the Zoom link. I know I've got it, so we can get that sent out, but we wanted to get through the slides first and get into You Don't Know Jack. So I got back, changed, whatever. Dan sent me the Zoom link, and here we are. It's great to be back with you, Dan. You and I have been keeping in touch with your marathon preparation for another marathon on October 15th in Ashland, Wisconsin. I may drive up for that because I'll be getting back from London, I believe on the 12th, and I'll get rid of my jet lag and then maybe come up and be there for you because I know.
Oh yeah, you're heading overseas to watch a football game.
Yeah, right.
Well, I may as well get a green jersey and a cheese head this year because.
Yep.
the Vikings.
Mike Neal
Wow.
says, which hunt?
I would keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want anyone stealing in and
Mike,
It's
I'll
all-
talk with you. I'll talk with you offline if you want, but I just want to make sure that if I'm sharing boots on the ground information, it's either with people I would partner with or whatever. So hit me up on Facebook or Messenger or whatever, and we can have a chat about it. All right. Should we get into your favorite
My
what? The number one what?
the number
Kaepernick?
one rated game show in all of Chase YouTube land.
Oh my God.
It's been a while since we've
It's gonna happen. I can't believe it.
done.
All
Number
right.
20. Can you believe we actually did 20? That you put together 20 of these things?
Yeah, and we started.
had
when-
the easy-
When did
I
we
had the
start?
easy
In
job.
January or February? Can't remember when we did the first show.
I'd have to look back.
I think it was in January. Yep. All right. We did the Smooth Jazz birthday remembrance. We're gonna do You Don't Know Jack. We may do an item giveaway. Depends on how long we get on here or who comes on the panel, but
You
We still have-
know, do you
still have
know,
stuff to give
I
away.
was thinking about some. So I messaged you around July 20 something. And I said, hey, guess what I was doing 1 year ago today? And you were like, meeting Jack. I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Yep. And
That's
I
right.
think it was like right around Forrest's birthday that I came out and announced to all of you fine people on my endeavors. I think it was I think it might have been on his birthday, or because that was my plan.
Well, good. Let me rock and roll here and keep us on track.
All right.
Oh, we used to have all these people give us all the great reviews. The best was Greg's from Treasure Seeker's Brutal Truth, and he was on there giving us a great review, which was great. And it's good to be back with you guys. But it's that time.
All right, tee it up.
Each show, we'll invite Jack Stoof to join us for a fun segment called You Don't Know Jack. The reason why we're hesitating on the Zoom going out for the panel is Dan's got the Zoom link out to Jack right now. We're waiting to see if he joins us or not. So it's a fun segment to learn more about Jack without asking him solve or chase related questions unless he volunteers to do so. There's no doxing going on here in the information unless Jack gives us fresh content has been shared elsewhere before on previous shows, websites, books, photos, articles, or other publications. We may revisit some of his emails to searchers or simply ask trivia related questions like the ones we're about to do. Just remember, Copper Dan is one of the only searchers that we know of that has sat in an airport and quaffed beer with Jack to get to know him since Forrest into the chase. He knows Jack, so let's play What, Copper Dan?
You don't know Jack.
Jack. Copper Dan has not seen these questions.
I have not seen these questions, so I'm a little scared right now. I remember what was one of the very first questions I had to read, and it had to do with a boat. Do you remember that there, Packer Jack?
I do. I don't even want to say it. Just
Was it
'cause-
the I don't even want to say it either.
Yeah, don't say it.
That's there could be
We've matured so much since then.
yes.
It's not,
Oh, yeah.
we're not paddling backwards down that river. There is no paddle up that creek, my friend. All right. Question number 1, Copper Dan.
I by the way cannot see. You do not have it shared. All I see is the Zoom link.
Oh, it says, let me stop share. I had it up, so let me try it again.
That's why when you were reading it, I thought you weren't sharing it on purpose.
I'm going to put share screen. Can you see it now?
There it is. Question number 1 for Copper Dan. August 22nd is obviously an important date in the life of Forrest Fenn. The 22nd in April of 1984. What honor was bestowed upon Forrest on April 22nd, 1984?
So the 22nd is not only an important day in August, but on April 22nd of 1984, Forrest was bestowed with a special honor. What was it? Be specific. I don't think Vertigo's watching tonight, so everybody's got a chance finally.
I'm gonna go look at chat.
Look at, there's a Jack Stoof with 2 F's that said the answer was the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. That was a few years before that, my friend.
Uli says the Rounders. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. This is a good question.
Yeah, what honor was bestowed upon Forrest on April 22nd, 1984? Oh, Hooli got it. You ready? You ready, Dan?
All right.
Now I'm trying to change the slides. Yeah. Here we go.
Forrest won Best Art Book for Beat of the Drum and Whoop of the Dance at the Western Heritage Awards, the National Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City.
Yes, Hooli said Code of the West Award. We had it as the Western Heritage Awards, but I say close enough, Hooli. Well done. August 22nd,
I'm trying to
1984.
remember if I think I have this book. I think I
Yeah.
have one of the nicer versions of this book. Unfortunately, I did not get Forrest to sign it before he passed away. All my other books are signed.
Question 2. Speaking of if photos were doctored, we've talked about gaps in logs. We've been talking about if people are changing email fonts. But who had to resign as a campaign manager, and what congressional candidate do they work with because of sleuthing work done by Jack Stoof? In this 2-part question, name the person that Jack busted and name the candidate that they worked for and had to resign as campaign manager for. Whoo, how
Well,
about that?
I'm going to guess that it's going to probably be a Republican candidate because Mr. Stoof was a little left leaning.
I can
So-
agree. I can tell you that it is a Republican candidate. Yes, JK, we said in the question, let me go back so he gets proof here. We said what honor was bestowed upon Forrest on April 22nd, 1984. We were just saying that the 22nd was the important date. Here we are again. Speaking of if photos were doctored, who had to resign as campaign manager and for what congressional candidate because of sleuthing work by Jack Stoof? Hey, Ashley. Oh,
Hey,
Vertigo. Look at Vertigo comes in with the answer
Oh,
on
Jesus.
his first post tonight.
Out of nowhere, out of left field.
Look at that. 2 of Comfortably Smokes posts about Sandy were retweeted more than 500 times each, but many Twitter users challenged the truth of his reports, and the Con Edison tweet drew a direct rebuttal from the company itself. The Twitter account has no real name attached to it, but BuzzFeed contributor Jack Stoof reported he was able to compare altered photos posted on the account to unedited versions of them elsewhere on the internet. Stoof identified the account owner as Shashank Tripathi, a hedge fund analyst and campaign manager for a candidate for Congress. While never giving his name, the account holder seemed to acknowledge as much Tuesday night in a post apologizing for his actions. He also announced his resignation from the campaign of Republican Christopher White, who is seeking New York's 12th congressional district. I wish to offer the people of New York a sincere and humble, unconditional apology, he wrote after Stoof's story had identified him. He then linked to a longer note. While someone used the anonymity and instant feedback of social media as an excuse, I take full responsibility for my actions. I deeply regret any distress or harm they may have caused. On Wednesday morning, White's campaign said Tripathi had been replaced. Tripathi did not respond Wednesday to a Twitter message seeking his comments. There you go. You don't know Jack question about Jack's sleuthing ability. All right. Question number 3. Dan.
In Marvin Finn's fishing log, he specifically mentions Forrest by his nickname and that it was his birthday in 2 consecutive years. We need 4 parts here. What was Forrest's nickname? We should all know that.
Right.
What year 2 years did Marvin, I read that right? What
2 years did Marvin state?
What 2 years did Marvin state it was Forrest's birthday?
Right.
What did they go eat on the second mention? Where did Marvin fish on those 2 days?
Yeah, I was typing fast. So
That's all right.
So
So we want to know
Forrest,
Forrest's nickname.
The
What 2 years did Marvin Finn state it was Forrest's birthday? So we're looking for year dates.
right.
What did they eat on the second mention? And where did Marvin go fishing on those 2
Yeah.
days?
Tyler asked if Treasure Warrior's account is blocked because Ashley's in here. So
I talked to him about it. If I can figure out how to undo it. This is from a long time ago, and I already talked
to Ben. Oh, okay.
to Ben. Yeah, I told him, I said, you might be blocked. Don't take anything personally by it.
Yeah.
He laughed. It's cool.
Well, we may have to just send them the link later then. Okay. So we got the four things. Forrest nickname, the 2 consecutive years that Morris named in the fishing log. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, do you have to get all these right just to get the point, or are we giving out 4 points here, or what?
I think it's just, I don't even know if we'll do another show after this. So I don't know what people get except the grandeur of knowing that they get the answer correct.
Pretty much. I'm looking back. Who got the nickname first? It looks like Scared Thunder. Sacred Thunder. I think we can confirm that is his nickname.
All right.
Agent Harry.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. We've got Bubba. Everybody should have known Bubba.
Right.
1948 and 49 is 18th and 19th birthdays. In that second quote, he says, had supper, Bob, Lil, and I at Frontier Club as Skippy's guests. So it's the Frontier Club, and it was a trick question. He didn't fish on either. Both days he said, didn't fish today. So
that's mean. Oh, tough question.
In Jack's 12 Days of Christmas email to Forrest, what did Jack use for the 4th day of Christmas? These are the recent emails released from the McCracken case. What was the 4th day of Christmas in Jack's email? Who's going to be first on that one? Here's for old time's sake. Doody, 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 doo. Doody, doody, doo. Do 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 dee do dee do dee do 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 dee do dee do dee do. All right. What was the 4th day on the 4th day of Christmas in Jack's Christmas email to Forrest, wishing him well?
I'm not seeing any guesses here.
I'm not seeing any guesses either. I thought Vertigo would be all over that.
On the 4th day of Christmas.
There's Vertigo. He came through in the clutch right at the end.
For sagebrush with a question mark.
Yeah. Sagebrush plants is the exact answer. Sagebrush plants. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for playing You Don't Know Jack. I don't know if you need to tune in next week for another one of these, like we usually say, but here we go. And just for old time's sake, Dan, it's your old buddy.
You don't know Jack. Oh, I think what you want me to Frost heave the snowman.
Woo!
That was funny.
Never gets old.
Who that was Christy was talking about a post, and it was talking about
Frost heave.
They were talking about, I think it probably had something to do with the chest and the ground and would it have, pushed up. And I got some rocks in my yard that are slowly making their way out of the ground each year. I use it as examples. My lawnmower finds them.
So should we start sending the link out to people, or do you want to post it, or what do you want to do?
Why don't you who do we want to let in?
Well, if Ben can't comment, we should send him the link to it.
All right, well, send Ben the link.
I mean, my God, that's crazy.
Well, we wait for Ben, Mr. Napple. Nice hat there, buddy.
I know. I figured I'd wear that for old time's sake.
I got a shirt I could wear, but you could fit 2 of me in it.
All right. I sent the link to Ben and Ashley if they want to come on. I don't know if Candy's still live or not. So
she might be in the room too, because she's probably not able to comment again. If I would have thought ahead of time, I probably could have unblocked some people.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jeremy, I don't have Jeremy's I think Jeremy and I are friends on
Facebook. Hang on, I gotta take a phone call.
yeah. Oh, Jeremy and I have never communicated. All right, so I sent the link out.
Sorry, that was my wife. Better known as the Copper Princess.
Ben just got back to me. He's coming on. Jeremy's working on a project. He has us on in the background, maybe later. Candy is still live. She said she's got a panel. She said, "Can everybody join?" I said, "I don't know who you have on." So
Sean Chippendale. Is the Copper Dan and Packer Jack show back in action? Just kind of a one-time tonight, you know.
Forrest birthday remembrance celebration. So absolutely.
I wanted to give everyone a place to come out and chat tonight. And we could bloviate. We've always got something to talk about.
Yeah. Can bloviate. So I do have a slide that I want to talk about when
once Ben gets on.
Yeah, because we should be talking about content to the chase and also what Forrest, you know, on his birthday, what he meant. We don't need to be redundant. You've talked about your relationship with your dad. I've talked about becoming friends with many people that are in the room and going to World Series of Fen and, you know, getting into metal detecting.
Oh, I actually so at the end of the month here, actually in 8 days, it's our 25th anniversary. And the wife and I, like, kind of a special anniversary. I'm like, what we were trying to figure out what we could do. And so we were talking about going down to Key West, and the hotel rooms in Key West are just atrociously expensive. It's just ridiculous. I'm like, which, whatever, if it's, I would, you know, we would certainly, if we really wanted to go, we would, I want to drive. I think that'd be so cool. I've always wanted to drive the Keys. Anyways, my wife, I couldn't believe she said this because she's always said she's hated it, but she says, why don't we go to Vegas? So we're going to Vegas.
Nice.
But we're gonna wait till October. We got to wait for things to calm down business wise a little bit. But we're gonna
well, funny you should say that, because even though I'm going, you know, I'm going to be in London in October, and then you're doing your run in October. So I'm assuming that's after that.
yeah, it'll be towards the end.
Can't imagine you partying in Vegas and then running in a marathon the next day.
Jesus.
So Ben and Ashley are going to come in, which is great. I don't know if Candy is going to come in or not. I sent her the link. And if anybody else is out there, Davio, anybody else wants to pop in, let us know. Shoot Dan a message.
So
Chat.
So I've been watching this DB Cooper I found on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I got about 3 episodes, maybe the fourth one. And I actually lost interest. It's just, I don't know, they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't create it with enough. I don't know, should I keep watching? Does it get better?
The DB Cooper, Where Are You? I think basically what it was they knew they had a lot of footage from the special that they had done with Tom Colbert before that. So it was really kind of a part 2. And I think it may have been, I'm not sure, a mea culpa to Colbert, because they kind of pulled the rug out for him afterwards. And yay, Hello.
Hey,
Hello. Happy
Hey,
Forrest Ben
guys.
Remembrance Birthday Day.
look, I got him on. See, woo.
You look, is that like supposed to be some kind of character?
What do you mean?
The way you move around, it looks like you're a cutout figure.
But
Oh.
I'm got the green screen.
I sure green screen him. When you're you look like a cutout cartoon figure that was moving around.
Now you left I just saw your message. You had a ton of people on with you.
I didn't leave. I didn't shut it down yet. I wanted to jump on real fast to see what's going on.
How many hours have you been on now?
I started at like 5:45.
Nice. Love it.
So I just wanted to see what everyone's doing because I think the community split right now. We got like 50 over on your guys' thing right now and like 50 over in mine. And then I'm totally down for, jumping over to you guys. I just want to make sure if you guys would be okay with everyone on the panel joining your panel.
I don't even know who's there.
Who's on the I don't know
On the
that we're
panel?
I don't know that we're gonna be on forever. I just wanted to come on and say happy birthday to Forrest. And
Yeah, the only thing I know is Ben and Ashley are coming on in a couple minutes, and I don't know how much long. I mean, if you're going to keep staying on, then we can sign off after that, flip over
Yeah.
to you or whatever.
Did you guys want to do that then?
yeah, that's
Because I don't want like anyone getting their toe stepped on or anything. That's why I was saying like you're doing your show. So I was gonna say I'd jump off.
No, we already did. We already did. You Don't Know Jack, episode 20.
Awesome.
There's nothing that could be stepping on toes after trying to bomb hot sauce. So
Oh my god, I keep putting it on everything.
what, the
Like
Diablo?
the Diablo hot sauce. I'm gonna go put it on some chips in a little bit. I'm like, I feel like having a snack with chips, and you just put the Diablo hot sauce. It's so good.
Yeah. What's up, BK?
What's up, guys?
okay.
Hey,
It's like the BK broiler at Burger King.
Burger King's my favorite place. I was literally like jumping in the pool listening to you, Copper Dan. And then I hear Packer Jack say, "Oh, we're sending a link." And I was like, "Oh
Well,
shit."
you should have.
All right.
Why didn't you go
No.
live from
Then
the pool?
Tyler's like, Copper Dan's got you blocked, and I'm like, did you answer any? Did you win? Did you actually win any of the You Don't Know Jack questions or not?
I was bullshitting in the Discord saying, "I beat Vertigo to the trivia question. I demand a recount."
wait, you what?
They do trivia, Candy. Oh, there you are, Candy. I didn't see you there when you disappeared from the hot sauce competition the other day. You fucking
She
fuck.
bailed.
Sorry. Oh, not sorry.
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, no.
I got really drunk
Wow.
off a fireball, and I got like ADD distracted, and I ended up joining Street and his philosophical ranting side.
And then I was on your show last night, and you were ranting, and I almost was gonna time it someone out, but I was going to dinner and going in and out. But there were a couple of trolls on your chat yesterday.
There's always trolls, but at least tonight there's no trolls in the chat room, at least from what I can tell. So I just like over on my side, we're just recanting everything from what we were going over 2 years ago when I hosted the 90th Zoom birthday bash for fun. So I was sharing some of the emails he shared when we did the bash, how he loved it so much, how he was enjoying it. Getting people to share like what got them into the chase, what inspired them, where did they go first boots on the ground, what's their favorite memory because of Forrest, like just fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, you're supposed to send the link to your better half.
I
Yeah,
don't
I was gonna say-
I don't want to like remind her. Sorry, I was fixing. I don't want to remind her of her technical inabilities, but I've told her 3 times now it's on Facebook.
It's so nice to see
Send
you
it
two
to her.
with us.
Hey, Ben, I think
Candace
I'm going
Irvin
to
and Ben Napple. It's very nice to have you with us right now.
I'm going to invite
see you guys.
myself to the next hot sauce challenge.
Yeah, no, I heard you say that, dude. You're in. Please. Okay, so like for realsies, I was hamming it up a little bit. Those hot sauces were shit.
Although Jeremy looked like he was truly in pain.
When we concocted that 1-3 hot sauce like
Right. And
combination,
the cumulative effect.
yeah, there was a real accumulative effect. I wasn't bullshitting, but
God.
like let's put it this way. I'm very intrigued by trying Da Bomb.
I gotta come back. Street just let Fendi onto my channel, so I'll be
Why
right
don't you
back.
just shut it down?
I
You're
was
good.
telling them.
Or stay there. You're like hopping back and forth.
Yeah.
We're
I
not going to
got a
stay
whole bunch
on.
of people
We're not going to stay
entertained.
on. We're not going to be on all night. We're not going to be on that much longer. We're just
I was
goofing around.
expecting
So
like
That's-
don't
that's what
shut
he's-
your
I was
channel
thinking.
down. On my account.
I'm not. I'm just making sure Fendi doesn't get it shut down.
Oh God.
I'll be back.
Bye.
Jeepers. Copper Dan, what's been going on, man? How have you enjoyed not being in the nitty gritty of the chase world?
So, honest answer. I kind of lurked back in, and I think I ended up on Treasure Seekers or something for about 10 minutes. I went, Jesus, this is turned into a shit show times 10. And I turned the chase off, and I left it literally turned off. Once in a while, John Packer Jack would send me a message on something. I'm like, when you would go live and talk about DB Cooper, I was following that, because that
Oh, no shit.
that was kind of interesting. It really was.
He paid hundreds of dollars for ha ha ha. Don't forget.
Are you working on a solve?
No, I'm not doing anything with it. It's just, and then I found, like, holy crap, there's this Netflix that came out. I don't know when
Yeah.
it came out, but there's this thing, and I started watching it, kind of listening to it while I worked, and I was telling Packer Jack, I'm like, it just hasn't really caught my interest. It's like, is this going to get, like, I was hoping they would tell the story better, but by episode 4, they're kind of losing me.
Yeah, I think anybody out there still making documentaries on people and their mysteries, I think would be good or wise to take notes.
Right.
When any kind of media platform focuses on a single person that's not the person we all came here for, it gets a little wonky. So like for the DB Cooper thing, they focus on Rackstraw, and if you aren't aware of all the DB Cooper theories, you're hearing this one person out of dozens, and the narrative forms. Or for this Missed Fortune podcast on Forrest Fenn, we're hearing about one specific searcher's life. It's not Forrest Fenn. I would hope everybody's taking notes, and X marks the spot when they would focus on like Dave Woodard or Too Much of Me or Barb. Like it let's not lose the point, I think. And that DB Cooper documentary, while entertaining, kind of loses the point.
I was glad I think you well represented, because the first couple of searchers they picked was like the extreme one.
Ashley's backstage, by the way. Davio,
Oh,
I sent you
sorry.
the link in Messenger.
Just really extreme to the one way, and you brought a little bit, and then of course the last who was the last searcher, or were you the last searcher?
I was the last. Yeah,
You were.
but
So the last couple were a little bit more moderate. They didn't make us look like a bunch of knuckleheads. It was like
one thing I think that the new one is doing, and I don't even like how they're doing it, but that I wish maybe X marks the spot would have done, is try to put new people in the eyes and ears and boots of searchers on the way to a boots on the ground, maybe a little bit during, if they're not breaking any laws, and then that high to low. I've always said someone should do a documentary on Southwest airline flights flying out of Burbank, California to Las Vegas, and then follow them when they fly back home from Vegas to Burbank. They are two completely different plane rides, and it's just entertaining.
Yep. Are they making? So there was X marks the spot. What's the other one that came out?
It Missed Fortune. It's
Yeah,
just an
and they
Apple
made it-
original.
Have they made any new ones?
There was a new one that came out today, and
Is
I
it-
was not a fan of it.
I was not a fan of it either. It got back into what I thought they weren't going to do, and it's the misery junkie. Just how
Ashley,
awful the
Ashley,
guy's
are you
life is.
Ashley? Are you cooking?
Yes, making a big ziti. Sorry. Just
Yeah.
waiting, running to the sink to wash my hands and make the food.
Ashley has a family member in law enforcement. You know, what? How do they justify you go to arrest someone and then you slash their car tires and play that off in that audio cast today?
It's
Hey,
spoilers. No, but like
Spoiler alert.
seriously, there's I look, what the one thing, Copper Dan, tell us when we're ranting too much. The one thing about this new podcast, I think, and I mentioned it in the Discord, there's an interesting debate I'm having with myself. I've always been a big fan of First Amendment, journalistic integrity. The journalist does what he or she needs to do in order to get the story so that
Right.
we can have the story. Whether you want the story or not, that's up to you. And this reporter following a searcher who is admittedly breaking a law, breaking multiple laws, being banned from Yellowstone within a certain amount of time frame, and he tells this reporter, "Hey, let's get to Yellowstone because technically I'm not going to not be allowed to be there until 2 weeks from that." Like, is it the reporter's obligation to say, "No, man, you're going to get arrested. Don't do that"? No, it's probably not. But does he get a free pass when he goes, "Yeah, let's go"? When you're a searcher, this is a different situation than a normal maybe addiction, and maybe gambling is the only thing where there's gray zone. But when this searcher has failed multiple times and gotten in trouble with the law, maybe he'll keep going because he can't stop, but maybe he will stop. And if there's a reporter there who is promising them notoriety because they're media, end of story. You don't know what that notoriety is going to be, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to tell yourself it's bigger than it will be.
Right.
And if you have that working and playing into you while you're deciding whether or not you're going to break the law, well, if you got a whole reporter crew with you, fuck it, I'm going to break the law this time. Let's go, baby. And I don't know where the responsibility stops there for the reporter when they know the person's breaking the law. However, we need the story because this is a true story to some of the aspects of this search, the addiction to it.
And then he's saying, and we're going back when it's reading -6 on the thermometer, and this guy's already had to be rescued twice, and he's going to rappel down the rock wall with his fear of heights.
Right.
It just is really, really bizarre. It did get back into the Tiger King kind of thing where, you know, this guy he serves in the military. He becomes a police officer. He loses that job. He loses his wife. I mean, this is the country Western song where if you play it backwards, you get everything in life. He lost everything. And I do think, Ben, I felt good after that 3rd episode, especially with the Forrest interview, which was a lot of new information for us.
What an interview to hold on to. Dan, was that sorry, Packer. Go.
No, yeah, but this one just bummed me out today when I listened to it.
Yeah. Dan, you haven't
you're
heard
muted,
any of it.
Ashley, I think. Ashley,
Sorry,
you're
Ash.
muted.
Oh, I'm not muted. Just been talking over me per usual. I would like for it to be referenced. Like what I would like to hear in the podcast is to hear the journalist say, explain that exact situation, what we're all thinking and talking about. Like at least he acknowledged it. It would be different. I would feel better.
That's interesting. And there's 5 episodes to go. I now that you say it, I almost wonder and would almost be willing to bet that he does acknowledge that strange dichotomy he's in. Do I help this? I hope he does. That'd be very fascinating if Peter Frick Wright goes that direction.
Yeah.
But these podcasts, X marks the spot, and this new one, they're good enough. They certainly caught my attention where I'll throw my headphones on and listen to it. I think now that after seeing the DB Cooper on Netflix and how uninteresting it was, I'm like, whatever you do, if they're going to do something for Friend, you've got to make it. In my opinion, you have to get Jack.
There's got to be a hook.
There's got to be something huge, and I don't know how you're going to do that. But
well,
you
I will say this. I think there's an equivalent to Jack. I agree. I think at this point, look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
How nice is it to have the four of us back together again?
There's only one signature missing. Jack Steve.
We're back.
Yeah.
Back together again.
We're just
Ashley.
missing Jack Steuf.
Copper Dan, Ben. Remember this, Ashley? So good to be back with you guys.
Do it again.
There's the idea here that we need Jack. Whether you agree or believe in Jack, or you believe he's a paid actor, or you believe he's a big fat liar, he's been put into a position of power in the chase because he has pictures with Forrest on the chest.
Right.
So you know what's Jack's long game? I don't know. I lost my train of thought there.
Well,
No,
can I
it's-
share the one slide, Dan, since we got Ben and Ashley that we can talk about for a couple minutes? Just
Oh my God.
not Frost Heave, obviously.
Felicity Frost.
Felicity Frost. Let me see if I've got the right. It's this one because it's August. We're celebrating August 22nd, of Forrest. But let's not forget what happened in August 2020 on Zoom. And these are the players that had a Zoom meeting. You got Tom Hanasco, Jack's attorney. You got Jack. You got Forrest Fenn. You've got the then Chief Ranger, Sarah Davis. You've got the now Chief Ranger, then Assistant Chief Ranger, Chris Flesh. And then we don't know who the DOI attorney was. You can assume potentially it was Kimberly Bell. I don't know that. But these five faces were together in a Zoom meeting 2 years ago, just a couple days ago. And as all we know is that nobody got charged. And from what Carl shared in the McCracken case is that Jack's attorney, Tom, let Carl know that if Jack were forced to testify in the McCracken case, that he was notified specifically by Chris Flesh from Yellowstone National Park that if the location was revealed, he would face potential criminal charges. Ben, what do you think that actually happened in that Zoom meeting on August 20th? And what was concluded where we never heard of anybody getting charged? There's nothing on file about charges being filed. And I know it's very weird when we listen to the Apple podcast and, the first time Daryl got rescued because he went across the river, they kind of let him go with a hand slap and said, don't let it happen again. It was the second time. So remember, this is probably Jack's first interaction and he's not getting caught. He's actually going to them and having this meeting. But this, to me, this meeting in August of 2020 is kind of the key of why we may not have heard things, or it just seems very bizarre if National Park Service is trying to set a precedent that they don't want to have treasure hunts. Why wouldn't you and I do one in Yellowstone National Park and say, well, nothing happened to Forrest or Jack, so why wouldn't we do it? Ben, you look at the players that were in this meeting on the 20th of August in 2020. What the hell happened there?
Well, my first question is, the context here is this is the culmination of his hunt. This culmination has led to a solution that has an ending. And Forrest Fenn decides with Jack Stoof to call the National Park Service or the government, whatever you want to call it. And he doesn't have his lawyer present. The idea that Carl wouldn't be present in this meeting when Forrest said, I talked to lawyers, I've spoke with lawyers, what if there's no legal issues? Well, that same Forrest shows up to this meeting because if there were legal issues, Forrest would have had his attorney present and he didn't. I find that strange. That doesn't mean there's a conspiracy. That doesn't mean it wasn't in Yellowstone. It's strange though.
That is a good point.
You know what struck me when I was listening to Forrest's interaction with Peter, and Forrest said, but those laws weren't enacted until after I had done the stuff. So they actually couldn't charge me and had to give me immunity from the raid. When Forrest hid the chest, if he did not bury it below ground and somebody didn't have to dig it with a shovel, Forrest could at least play the card of, at the time I left my chest there, this is what the laws were when I did it, so on and so forth. But
if that were the case, and I think that's a good get out of jail free card on this, because it's ironic, which is a great bookend to Forrest Fenn's final chapter. He did do this before they changed the law. They absolutely changed the law midway through the chase. And if you don't think they did it because of Forrest Fenn, I would suggest you keep researching. And so there was a change halfway through, and that is when Forrest finally sought legal help. I went into this chase thinking he had legal help from the beginning. What I've learned after the fact, from the help of people like Copper Dan and K-Pro and Cynthia, even though I don't agree with 90% of the things, what I did learn is, wait a second, Forrest didn't seek legal help in the beginning. He did it in the middle, coincides with when the law changed. So could he have had opening dialogue with Yellowstone, which they almost even confess or admit, well, yeah, we changed the law halfway through. So you're grandfathered in, you're okay, you're safe. Maybe that's why he doesn't need a lawyer present. And Jack does, because Jack isn't grandfathered in. Jack recovered an item he knew was abandoned on purpose, and he didn't turn it into the superintendent. My question then is, why would Forrest state, if you find it in Yellowstone, turn it into the superintendent? So then why didn't Forrest give that same advice to Jack on private email?
now let's recall Cynthia's releasing only a portion, because she has the whole thing, but she released a portion of Forrest talking with Dale in December 2019, when Forrest is having that lamenting, discussion, and says, I just wish the person would have just taken it and hid it under their bed for 30 days, or, it's very interesting that conversation is taking place then. And Forrest in his poem says, take the chest and go in peace. Right. Dan and I have had this conversation before. Dan, I think that meeting that took place in August in 2020, I think people say the 20th of August in 2020, the Zoom meeting with Tom Hanasco, Jack, Forrest, Sarah Davis, Chris Flesh, and some representation from the solicitor's office of the Department of the Interior. I believe Forrest was saying, tell me what we need to do, because I don't want this guy to get in trouble for finding my treasure chest. He did what I told him to do. And what do we need to do to get this right with you guys? And Forrest was willing to take on that stuff. And then he's dead 3 weeks later.
But that should be public.
Yeah.
This is the people's park. This sets precedent for so many possibilities.
Well, it stops more than it creates, doesn't it?
It feels like it stops more than it creates. Sure,
I mean,
but
nobody in their
then let
right
us know
mind
that.
No one's going to ever put anything in Yellowstone in a game ever.
Unless they're a Maverick. I mean, no, I hear you, Davio. I hear you loud and clear. But at the same time, shouldn't Yellowstone has been very vocal. The people in the positions of power of Yellowstone has been very vocal against the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, both during and after.
Well, we know the federal government's not a big fan of Forrest in general, right?
Sure. So don't you think they would volunteer information to say, yes, we know Jack Stoof recovered the chest on our property, and Jack Stoof has suffered accordingly here, whether that's a $500 fine and the slap on the wrist, or that's a 10-year ban and confiscation of the chest. Shouldn't we be allowed to know about this because Forrest put it on the people's land?
Or he didn't, and that's just the way they get out of this shit show that they're stuck in.
That's
that
the
looks more likely.
Davio, this is something I wish you would recognize in more that I do, and maybe I'm not doing it enough, but that's the other question I'm asking without asking.
It is. That's what you point out. The more you show the ridiculousness of this conversation actually happening, and them having to show that Jack exists, the more it proves that it shows that they had to do some desperate shit to get out of a one-off situation.
But let's not mistake ourselves here. The evidence is 10 stories high that says 9 Mile Hole. It just is.
So
the-
anyway, I gotta jump in because Jeremy said maybe I should come on just so Ashley has someone to talk to. So Ashley, what do you think about what we're talking about?
Please, no. Well, everything you're saying makes sense. I'm just wondering if Forrest was super confident, like if they're just paid off. Part of the story that we're not hearing because they can't tell us, and that's why Jack's not in trouble, and it just goes away because they just can't say.
Yep.
So much
Who
change.
just can't say?
There's nothing, they can't.
Who can't say what?
The park, the
Park.
lawyers,
Why
anybody in that
why is the federal government helping Forrest keep a secret?
because there's nothing that they're actually keeping a secret. The secret that they're keeping is it was never there, so they're really not in trouble. But it gives a great paper trail to keep Forrest Fenn's family secure. Now, maybe he made a little donation and everybody's all happy now and it's all under the carpet.
Mike
Forrest-
Nodine in chat says, what if Forrest had a deal with a previous Yellowstone superintendent who was in charge before the people that were there?
That's intriguing. Do we have what we need is we need a flow chart for which superintendents were anti-Fen and pro-Fen.
I think there's something from Sarah like later on. It will come out.
Did you guys hear about the foot that was recovered from one of the hot
Yes, in
springs?
the boiling water.
God, can you just imagine? My dad and I, when we hiked back behind Ojo Caliente, way back by Queen's Laundry, and there's like back there's no one, there's no signs that say stay away and stuff. So if you fell in, I mean, someone's going to find my foot in about 3 months. I just, that would be not.
Could you
Not a
imagine
good-
if that happened
good
and
way.
the chase was still happening?
Oh,
I think that's going to happen to you, Ben, all the time. All the time. I story like I
Forrest-
cried your death while on the ground several times a month.
Forrest would laugh and just say, "You gotta teach him to swim, not in boiling water."
Carter's in the house. Carter's in the house.
Or he's going to
Send
say
him the link,
fools
dude.
do what fools do. So what do you call
Forrest Fenn
that? No,
would
that
be
was
loving
the,
the fact. Forrest Fenn would be loving the fact, I think, that in his what would be his 92nd year on Earth, we are still just as intensely talking about him. Copper Dan is still here. There are people still lurking in the shadows who have been here since 2010. I think Forrest Fenn would consider all of this mission accomplished.
You know, there is one thing that Forrest did do, and I say collectively, he woke up everybody's imagination. So people who don't read, suddenly you're getting ideas and images from words they are reading. As a dyslexic person, that happened to me. As a person who is also, what's the other word? Very visual. Like Susie was just talking about on the show over here, how she was reading the book and she wanted to change the night terrors, the nightmares she was having. So she would make all kind of images on where Warm Water Halt was. So she'd have new images in her head and not have nightmares. I think there's a lot of that going on with Forrest, and it still is. I think a conversation about what a clue and a hint is will take us somewhere other than when we got Jackie Stoof taking us.
Possibly. He's still the one in control, though, isn't he?
What does he control exactly?
He's the final searcher to take a photo with Forrest Fenn, and there happens to be a chest full of gold with them.
He
That's
does have
power.
the final product. It's very powerful. He is the man sitting next to Forrest Fenn. He is the man right there next to the chest. He is the man who has an email, what do you call it? Stash that goes all the way back from 2018. And none of it says how he actually found it.
Except, no, Davio, as much as it pains me, his emails are quite indicative of one area and one area only, 9 Mile Hole with inside Yellowstone National Park.
That's right. And
They
and you get no idea on how he comes to this conclusion.
Correct.
That's where he is.
Correct. He is
along with
confident from moment one.
thousands.
He is
There's
confident
nothing-
from moment one. Here's what's more interesting about Jack's confidence about 9 Mile Hole. And Packer Jack has alluded to this a lot. The March correspondence between Forrest and Jack where he states regret for not acting sooner and wiser to prevent a search or death, and the fact that it's factual, according to Jack, in March, that the blaze has already been taken down by nature. Jack knows
so
this.
stupid.
Jack knows this for a fact. March of 2020, 3 months before he allegedly finds the chest full of gold.
And then he tries to do a CYA with Barbarisi saying, well, I had figured at that point, since I hadn't found it yet after my previous searches, that the blaze must have obviously been partially destroyed.
That is the quintessential definition of confirmation bias.
Yeah. And Davio, I know we're not going to convince you because I know I love you and love hanging out with you and playing poker and everything. But to the March 24th, 2020 email presented in the McCracken case from Jack Stoof to Forrest, he tips his hand. He makes a slip up when he's trying to say, boy, it's really unfortunate that this Michael Sexton died. And, you know, I wish I would have done a better job sooner to try to find out what's going on. And boy, oh boy, it's too bad that the blaze was taken down by nature. What? How do you know the blaze was taken down by nature in March 2020 when you didn't find it till June 5th, 2020?
Oopsies.
Boom, big whoopsie.
Oh, and White in that email early on, I'm not going to tell you where I think it is because I know you're being hacked.
Yes.
That one stood out more than
Yes.
anything because
Yes.
Forrest never answered anything he said after that. So what made Dear Jack stand out? Nothing. Zero.
Davio, you're hitting on so many good points. Forrest said,
those are the big ones. Those are the.
Or-
And here's the biggest one. The biggest one. Which one of you people would first call Daddy Fen after you found it? All of you would call your girlfriend, your wife, your anybody.
No, fuck, nope. No. I would call Forrest
Really?
Fenn first.
Why?
Why? It's his chest.
I agree, Ben.
I mean, first. One, I'm gonna smoke a bowl, have a piss, get a burrito.
The last thing,
I'm talking about first.
The last thing I want to do is call Ashley and give her the burden of knowing that I'm now driving with $2 million of gold. I want to call Forrest Fenn and see what he tells me to do next. I have the honor of finding it while he's alive. I'm going to take advantage of it while he's alive and talk to him.
Ben would go to the Walmart first, Ashley, before calling you.
There's the drive home. I mean, within that first freaking day or so, he said to put it into your bed for 30 days.
Does Idaho have Whataburger? That's where I would go.
Carter, how are you?
No, that's a good call.
Since Ben's not calling me first when he finds treasure.
No,
you can call me. Find the treasure.
It's different. Forrest Fenn is still alive. It's 2020. Of course, I'm calling Forrest Fenn first. What's up, Carter?
Hey, Carter. There's no way. I mean, I would call Fenn, but I mean, I'm going to arrange a meeting. I'm going to go see him. We're going to all that.
Here's what I wouldn't do.
The very first thing. I mean, we're talking the 24 hours, right? I'm not calling Fenn within that 24 hours. I'm making sure my ass is secure. I got my gun, and we're secure.
You're crazy if you're not calling Forrest Fenn in the first 24 hours.
What?
That's crazy talk.
Why would I?
Why wouldn't you? It's
because I need to get secured. One, I got to get off the road. I got to get 1,800 miles back to
secured.
I have to drive 1,800 miles with $1 million of gold in my car. One.
Right. You put it in your trunk. And you put it on cruise control at 72.
Yeah.
Nope, 70 this time. You don't want to go 7 miles over the 65. Go 5 over the 65. 70. You put it on cruise control on 70. Even if you go through those little zones where it's 80, fuck it. Let other people pass it. Yeah, go on. I got a chest full of gold. And get to Forrest Fenn's house safely.
I would never go to Forrest Fenn's house. My plan was to go home and make sure it was secure and then have a meeting with him because so my friends were flying out to where I would be, and then we would drive back together. And then when you get home and everything's okay, everything is safe within 24 hours, within 36 hours, then you're going to have a conversation with Forrest.
I think
but
in this
I wouldn't
case,
bring it to him.
Tabby, you gotta let Copper Dan talk.
In this case, though, Jack knew there was going to be a huge fucking issue with ownership of this chest. And he wanted to get it to the man and go, here's your chest back. Please give it back to me now. And I'm sure that's what he was hoping was,
So
give
weird.
it back. And they did it in front of attorneys. So if exactly what happened, he's damn glad he did it the right way, because this thing turned into a big shit show with lawyers and lawsuits. And
Yeah, Dan, would you take a pit stop in a national park as you were driving home?
No, I would have.
This isn't some sleazy ping data. This is Jack saying he stopped at a national park with that chest.
I would
How
have.
ridiculous.
I would have. Davio has a point. I would have. I mean, can you imagine finding this thing? The first thing you got to do is if you got to get it packed back across the Madison. And
Okay, no. Stop right there. Stop right there. It's your show. Copper Dan, you find the chest June 5th, whether you found it for the first time or found it for the 10th time. You're
Doesn't
removing
matter.
the chest. You're removing the chest June 6th to go to see for it or to go to do something. What do you do? What are your steps? You have the chest. It's in your backpack. You're now in your car. You've made it outside of Yellowstone's boundaries. What's next?
All right. So that would be the biggest nerve-wracking part, is coming back across the Madison with a 40-pound plus chest, hoping someone fisherman or something don't see you. I mean, that thing's going to be pretty obvious. Anyway, so I get across, I get it in my car. I'm going to have a huge sigh of relief. And the next sigh of relief is going to be outside. I'm in West Yellowstone and I've made it through the gate. No one has stopped me. But I ain't stopping to do. I mean,
Does it depend on the time of day?
I'm
It
eating on the
depends on
road.
the time of day.
I'm eating on the road. I mean, I'm not getting out of the car until I feel like I'm in a safe place. I would have went to Santa Fe. I would have contacted Forrest he would have been one of the top few phone calls. I think I probably would have called my wife, but he would have been, I don't know that I would have called. I don't know that I would have called Forrest, but he would have gotten some emails with some photos, and I would have, I think I was going to probably beat cheeks back to Minnesota and get that chest in my house where it felt secured. And then we would have started making steps from there. But I would have, I don't think I would have.
Carter keeps opening his
Santa
mouth
Fe.
like he's about to talk, and then he's very politely stopped. So Carter, what do you think about
Carter.
this?
So does this panel, because so I just had a kid 5 days ago. So my first child.
Oh!
So overall,
Whoa!
yeah.
Low key
exactly.
bomb
Yeah.
drop right there. Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
low-key,
Boy or
low-key.
girl, what's the name and why didn't you name them Ben?
How much?
Name is Noah, and why we didn't name him Ben is we didn't think about you. Sorry. Sorry. I mean, sorry, not sorry, but we had a lot of family names. That was really hard, to be honest with you. But that's a whole nother story for another live show. Why we named our kid what we named our kid. Live on the House Husband
I'm here for it,
Diaries
man.
in
Here for it.
2027. But thanks for watching. So anywho, no, I mean it's been wild for the last week, a few days. The kid was supposed to be here. The due date was Thursday, and we had planned to induce today, and the baby just showed up last Wednesday.
Low key. Whoa, hold on. Low key drop by Carter there. They plan to induce on August 22nd. Obviously, Carter is obsessed with Forrest Fenn.
Totes my goats. Totes my goats. Yeah. I plan to have my baby born forced birth on Forrest's birthday, but it didn't.
No.
But you know what? Your
It's
baby was a
Noah.
maverick.
It's Noah. It's Noah
Now, if you-
Forrest
if you-
Sitterson. Is the
if you
Yeah,
man.
believe in
actually, okay. So
If you
it's
believe in
actually
reincarnation.
So what's really funny that okay, so it's breaking news, right? My wife had when we were, we've been dating and married a combined like close to 14 years now. And early on, like 12, 13 years ago, she was like, I'm a junior. And she was like, absolutely, if we ever work out, we will never have a third. Like, I'm not naming if we have a son, like it's just not going to be a third, because she's from Germany. I'm from the South, and we have this thing with naming our kids after ourselves and, you know, whatever. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. And so she didn't learn English till she was 10, you know, so it's like, okay, you know, she wants to name, you know, like the names need to work with other languages because her other side of her family still lives in Germany. So, you know, I was like, I get it, you know, like it's cool. So we had 3 names. So I was like, you're gonna name the kid, and we found out it was a boy. And I was like, low key, if you don't have a name by the time it pops out, like it's Carter the Third, just FYI, you know, like so no pressure.
He was like, no.
Yeah, exactly. In between contractions, she was like, I'm gonna pick a name. And I was like,
Yeah,
like,
but
I
you know
was
it's
like,
still Carter the Third.
Yeah, exactly.
Breathe. Carter the Third. Breathe.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, you know, all right. So we're working on it. So so this is how it works out. Last Wednesday, so like whatever, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, she's at work. She's an eye surgeon. She's doing procedure. She calls me at 8:25 a.m. and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I just woke up. What are you doing? And she's
just
like,
woke
my
up.
water broke and I need you to like get here and like take me to the hospital. And I was like, I just woke up. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'll do that, you know? And she's like, okay, take a shower and like get all the
Love
bags.
Ashley's
that we packed
expressions.
Like,
and,
take a
let's-
shower?
Ashley
let's get outta
Ashley's
here.
showing the facial expression of
Yeah.
the female representation of the
100%.
audience right now.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Let
that's
you
cool.
take a shower.
Yeah, we've got like 15 hours, first birth, first child, right? We've got forever. So I'm like, whatever, bro. Listen, Ashley, I went to an all-male boarding school for high school. I can take a shower in 2 seconds. So 28 minutes, I have the dog fed, like peed, pooped outside, shower, packed the car, have gotten to my wife's work, and we're on the way to the hospital, right? 9 or 8:53. So it's like 5 to 7 minutes to the hospital. Like 9 o'clock, I drop her off at the emergency room. I don't just like, you know, it's not like a rolling stop, you know, and I just like roll her out, you know. It's like the, you know, the you know, the pseudo security guard has a wheelchair and he's like, do you need help? And she's in the middle of a contraction and she's like, you know, and he's like, oh, you need help. She's not handicapped. Like it's just, and she's like, no, that was a
We're at the
contraction."
hospital.
Yeah,
Yes. we
yeah,
could use
yeah.
some
He
help.
thought, he was like, ooh, she's, you're a nice guy, you know. It's like, sorry.
That's
So
funny.
Yeah. So we wheel her back. I go park the car, and I go back. It's totally for real. They say like, you know, dads or whatever, to be like your brain does not work. Like everything is just going like a million miles a second. And so I go into the emergency room. They're like, are you with the pregnant lady who's in labor? And I was like, yeah, but not, you know. And they're like, well, you got to go
I mean, do I have
around
to
the
be?
corner. You got to go here. You got to go to the elevators, you know, whatever. And then it was like all these directions. And so I'm like, okay, thanks. And I leave and I'm like, okay, go down the hall, take a right, go to down, take a right, elevator. I get in the elevator and I'm like, I have no idea what floor they said. Like, so then I'm like, shit, I got to get out of the elevator. I got to go back around. And I'm like, what floor? I have no idea what floor you said. And so they're like, just the next one. So I go around and I get to the floor. My wife's, you know, like dying in labor and they're trying to check her in. I was like, what do you need? I can fill out anything, whatever she needs to get, like, just put her on a bed, you know, like whatever. The kid was here at 10:17. She had no epidural, no pain medicine, nothing. Like it was like, and they were like, first child, like you've got like hours, and the baby was here immediately. And so then they were like, so like my parents, her parents were like, we're Lisa's in labor, and then here's the baby, like here's a picture. Like it was bonkers. So when we all met and hung out at World Series of Finn in February, we knew we were pregnant, but we weren't saying anything because of like history, whatever. We're like, we knew we were like early on, but we didn't want to say anything because of whatever. So it was pretty wild. And anywho, so all of that is to say, I've had no sleep in 5 days, and
Look where you're at. And what are you drinking right now?
Johnny Walker, Black
There you
Label.
go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dog.
Carter.
Yeah.
Can I share a picture of you with baby?
Please.
So while Dan's doing that, Crump had
Oh
David
yeah.
Cr- nice.
Look at that.
Trying to get the glare off of it. Sorry, guys.
David Crump says, I don't want this on the record, so he'll email instead of calling you in secrecy, Jack. I mean, think about that. Jack's got Forrest's phone number. Why is he emailing him saying, I don't want this on the record? It's on the record once you send that email.
This is the point. This is the point. There's so much nuance to this, and you have to be willing to accept that two people would be willing to go in cahoots together. You have to be willing to accept that they would talk on the phone about what they're going to do on email publicly. So should it be read in the future? And if
Okay.
you can't get your brain to that spot,
Okay.
Sorry.
So this is what I was gonna say. Other than my kid story, thanks for listening and making me feel like a great new father.
We had 80 viewers and we went down to 2. So
Yeah,
just-
exactly. No, it's terrible. I'm sorry for ruining
Carter, we don't
everything.
care. We're happy that you're here.
Yeah.
So
But it's interesting. Thanks, Packer Jack. And thanks for not knocking me out of poker. But I will say this. So do y'all subscribe to the theory that Jack found the chest in 2018 or 19 and then
19,
left
yes.
it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the dates.
19.
2019.
Dan doesn't really think it matters, but I think I convinced him that it actually happened then.
But then he left it for like a year and moved
Yeah.
to Puerto Rico and tried to like get
Supposedly left it. Supposedly.
Left it,
Yeah, no,
left
exactly.
it / moved it, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, supposedly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but I've sort of been in and out. And that's a whole nother ball game.
So Cynthia sent an email
Agreed.
to or a message to Tyler because Tyler was talking to her, I think yesterday, right, Ben? And
Tyler
Cynthia
Graybar?
has the ear of Shiloh. Cynthia Meacham has the ear of Shiloh. Yeah, Tyler Graybar. So she has the ear of Carl. She has the ear of whoever. And Cynthia, in her message to Tyler, said, "We know Jack found it in 2019." So she's confirming that with the family. She's confirming that with Forrest's attorney.
Which
And
is
Carl-
what we've been
Carl even
saying
made a-
since
yeah.
last year. Sorry.
And Carl's not backpedaling, but Carl
Well-
said in the trial, the McCracken trial, said it's my belief. I believe that Jack found it in 2019.
Do you guys remember the scrapbook dump that happened late 19?
Right.
I mean, it was
Copper Dan, remind me.
we used to
Yes.
get a scrapbook. I mean, what did we get? A couple a year, 3, 4, and they were like coming one after another, and it was just like, I remember when we talked about it, it's like, is something happening here?
Mhm.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
so it took me a while to come on board with this, and I'm still like, does it really matter?
Copper Dan, I
Um,
want to blow your mind. Copper Dan,
all right.
please let me blow your mind. Let me blow your mind. All right, I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna blow your mind. Since you said you recognize the scrapbook dump, so if you subscribe to the idea that Forrest knew that this chest has actually been found, not retrieved, but found in 2019, and then you see the scrapbook dump that happens right after, the scrapbook dump ends, not when Forrest dies, but it ends because of Forrest. Forrest stops releasing scrapbooks. So he does a big dump, almost, if you will, to make sure a certain amount are out. The number ends at 253. Those are the amounts of scrapbooks. So he races and stops at 253. Copper Dan, do you know when Flight 305 took off from Portland on November 24th, 1971?
Just a guess. just throwing shit at the wall here, but could it be 2:53 p.m.?
It is indeed 2:53 p.m. Cute. Very
What
cute.
about page 253 and Too Far to Walk?
No,
Isn't that relevant?
no. We're doing simple things.
That's pretty
Simple
simple.
things.
That's
No.
that cracks me up that you think that's not simple, but I get it.
Well, here's why. And this was my motif as a searcher entering the chase late. We're plucking a page from Too Far to Walk. The poem is in the thrill of the chase. The thrill of the chase is the essence of everything. I'm not sure if I was right or wrong that other books may or may not have mattered, but I fully believed the thrill of the chase and the poem are all that matters. So if there's something on page blah 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 in Once Upon a While or Too Far to Walk,
Right.
I don't
Forrest
care.
said there was. That's what he said in
and that's fine.
that interview.
That-
Remember
and-
the,
and
end of the
that's
video
perfectly
where he's being interviewed by Toby? So he said that was the interview because he's coming out with that Too Far to Walk in that video. And he said in this book there is a couple of hints. Interestingly enough, if you open both those books up at the same time and go page by page, you will notice amazing little connections he's making between the books. For instance, the table of contents lands on number 15, and he says 49 times the word in red ink chapter in Too Far to Walk. So for sure, I thought he was trying to point out the lack of chapters in Thrill of the Chase. In other words, what do you see in Too Far to Walk?
Right.
It's what's
Yeah.
missing in Thrill of the Chase. So these were hints, real vague, real subtle, but nonetheless hints.
I'm gonna blow Davio away. Davio, I agree with you, because when I was doing my stuff, it was the Kelly Green, hint of Rich's new and old, and Zoe old and Kelly Green. So I did that. But Ben, you remembered chapter 45 with I put the $100 bill on the tree and I shot it. And then later he says the wrong president. He doesn't say Benjamin Franklin. You've been wise.
There you go.
Ben
Because they put 100 on the tree and then says a president that's not the president that's on the $100 bill and Too Far to Walk.
Ben, there comes a point when there's just too many of these little things. I'm not saying that Forrest Fenn is DB Cooper, but I am saying there is a likely chance that Forrest Fenn knew who he was.
The money would be valuable and traded and never would ever hit the freaking airwaves. You know what I mean? It would be traded like a painting.
Well, let's get to the bottom of this. Whether it's
quick
DB Cooper,
quick question for Ben and Packer Jack, because I know y'all are the on Facebook, y'all are the DB Cooper,
leading DB Cooper authorities
and guys, aficionados. I saw a YouTube channel. I think Chael Sonnen, the MMA guy.
Yeah,
and he says he knows DB Cooper.
I've heard that.
Have you seen that? Have you?
I have
publicly.
I have.
Have you publicly addressed that?
I have never publicly addressed the fact that Chael Sonnen
Okay.
absolutely states that he knows who DB Cooper
He
is.
absolutely states it. Exactly.
Absolutely states.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so I wanted to know your thoughts on that. And then if Packer Jack has a thought on it too. Yeah. So that was my
So
thoughts.
here's what I've done with that, Carter. Here's what I've done with that.
Here we go. Look at
Legit,
this breaking news.
legit, I've actually looked into this. I have
Did you watch it? You were like,
yes. Oh yeah.
and you were like, bull-
I've
you were like-
I've liked Chael Sonnen since like 2010. I actually think he's an interesting person.
He
an interesting
is,
human
yes.
being. Right. So I appreciated the fact they gave him a show. But Chael Sonnen is the reputation I hear from him. And again, I used to run nightclubs in Vegas. So I have people in Vegas who are around a lot of these fighters a lot. Chael Sonnen is a hothead, from what I'm told. He's someone who likes to, he's like one of us. He's one of us. He has his DB Cooper person and he go, I know who DB Cooper is. But like, he actually doesn't. But those are people who don't actually know him. What I also did was try to Google, because that's all I can do is Google Chael Sonnen and Forrest Fenn, just to see if they ever ran across each other, just in case. Like, because I was like, oh shit, because I actually kind of believed he really did for a second. He's just like everybody else. He's like everybody else who thinks they know who DB Cooper is, and I include myself in that category. Like, he's just like me. Forrest Fenn is DB Cooper. Whoever his DB Cooper is, he's just like me.
Yeah, you know where it ends for me is when someone's not willing to say who their person is, like who's now deceased out of respect to the family or whatever. It's like it doesn't matter anymore. The person's gone. So
The only way you can say something, here's what it is. If you know who DB Cooper is, or you know who knows who DB Cooper is, if you're going to come out and say it, you better have gotten permission from your source to say it. And if you didn't, don't fucking say that, because nobody cares.
I thought that was really interesting because just Chael is like known as like the mouth of MMA. Like he was one of the best shit talkers.
So,
then he's gonna be like, I know who DB is, but I'm not gonna tell you. And I was like, oh, you're pussing out? Like really? Like that was such a.
that's what the people in the community, the people that we hang at, Ben and I, and we know and Alan Kelly, the Eric Eulis, and the other people are just like, they've been doing this for so long. It's been 50 years. DB Cooper is most likely dead based on his profile of the age when the crime was committed back in 1971. It's whose reputation are you ruining at this point? Where's your evidence? Present it. And it's no different. It's no different than somebody right now, after having pictures of Jack Stoof and Forrest with the chest, Forrest sending an email out to all of us saying the chase is over. You know, he's the creator. So if someone who's running, if Ben's running his fly fishing hunt, if Copper Dan's doing the Trolls Cash and he sends out my hunt is over, he's the creator. He makes the call. He says it's over. Ben, if you decide, you know what, somebody I heard got arrested or whatever, it's not worth it, I'm going to go pick up my flies and sorry guys, it's over. I know some of you are going to be mad because you put a lot of time into it, but I'm the creator and this is done. Now with the DB Cooper, so we have people still, Carter, in our community that will say, I'm the finder or I have the solve, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
That would be Barbara. She thinks she knows that she's waiting for them to come to her.
It makes
Can I posit a thought?
Yeah.
Here's my thought on this, because it really popped it up, Packer Jack, from what you're saying. Can Forrest Fenn end his chase if he knows someone is close?
Well, that would end it. If someone's close, he would hint them.
No. I'm saying if he pulls it, if he has a family member grab it, whatever, he doesn't let a searcher get it. He decides to end the chase because of a death, because of whatever. But somebody he knows legitimately, a searcher, was close. Can he really pull it?
Yeah, yes. Because I think we're like Greg from Brutal Truth would disagree with us, as he says, I bought the book and it was a lottery ticket. I don't think that has legal standing. I think Forrest could have said 5 people have died. There's COVID out there right now. I don't want someone to get COVID. And it's January of 2020 and the search is over. I mean,
I would disagree with that inherently, because isn't that what we should have done during COVID, is get the fuck out of our houses? But anyway, that's just
there you go.
But hey, this before I lose this train of thought. We're talking about DB. Where are you guys at? What are we doing here? Where are you
Packer
guys
Jack's just doing his thing. Dan.
Where are you guys at with where are you guys at with did DB Cooper survive the plane jump? What do you
we only have one choice to make. When I say we, I mean myself, Ashley, Alan. We've read Ha 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 and we believe in Ha Ha Ha. Whether the writer of Ha 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 is DB Cooper or the writer of Ha 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 knew DB Cooper, they knew details that wasn't public as of the printing of the copyright in 1978. The copyright's made in 1978, and in that same copyright, it states that money is going to be placed at Tina Bar. That doesn't happen until 1980. So I fully believe DB Cooper survived the jump. And the reason the FBI doesn't know this is because they have the wrong jump zone. They've convinced themselves of a specific tiny little square on the map, and he could have only jumped there. Where in Ha Ha Ha, he goes, yeah, I fooled them. I didn't jump at 8:13 p.m. I shook the stairs And then I took a nap for 2 hours. Now, no one believes he took a nap for 2 hours, but that sounds like a Forrest Fenn thing to say. The point is, in Ha Ha Ha, they say they jump over near Reno. For all we know, that book is bullshit, or at least it's a treasure hunting book, and it's and they'll tell you they jumped over Reno, but they really jumped somewhere else. The point is, all signs indicate the FBI did not get their man. The FBI did not get a drop zone. The FBI did not get any bit of evidence except for $5,800 left on the Columbia River, 20 miles upstream from the drop zone. And in the book, Ha Ha Ha, copyrighted in 1978, he goes, I placed the money 20 miles upstream on the Columbia River to fool the, quote, flaky bunch of idiots, FBI. I don't know who else that is but Forrest Fenn, but put that to the side. Whoever wrote Ha Ha Ha
Well,
is
'cause here's
showing
the reason-
indication of planning.
The reason I asked the question, you have two decisions to make. Either DB Cooper died in the jump, or he managed to keep his mouth shut for looks like the entirety of his life. I mean, if you did something like that, Ben, think about that. You can't tell anyone. You can't tell your wife. You can't tell your mom, dad, sister, brother. You can't tell anybody.
That's tough. That's tough, man. Let's put it this way. For the first couple of decades, if I did this at my age, 38, which is roughly the estimate for DB Cooper, I would never tell a soul for at least a decade, 2 decades, sure. But if I get into my 60s and 70s, I want people to know what I did. There are so many assholes in the late 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s that are now all of a sudden getting credit for their life when they haven't done a single fucking thing. I'm a 65-year-old Forrest Fenn, and I'm watching the Kardashians get notoriety when they haven't done shit with their life. But I jumped out of a plane with 200 grand to say fuck you to the federal government. So I'm going to start to say, yeah, people should know what I did.
So how old would DB Cooper have been when Ha 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 was written?
Well, Ha 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 was copyrighted in 1978, the same year Skippy died. So Ha 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 was copywritten when Forrest would have been 48, right?
Right.
He's born 1930, 1978, so 48, 7 years after the hijacking. And all FBI accounts from one sketch to the last sketch all say somewhere between early 30s to early 40s. Well, 1971, Forrest would have been 41 years old. Skippy would have been 43.
So has the idea been floated and just squashed that like maybe it was just an inside job?
No, that idea, in fact, I think is actually popping up more. That this was somehow the reason DB Cooper was never caught is because it was orchestrated that he'd never be caught, because this was a false flag event. And if you don't think the government was capable of false flag events in the 60s and 70s, go read some, release documents.
Exactly.
And from that moment on, we started to get security measures at airports.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes,
and when you say false
about
flag,
that.
we're not talking about Northwest Airlines. We're talking about the airline industry with the government.
We're talking about a man who gets on a plane and the stewardesses and the pilots don't know that this is basically war games.
Exactly.
And the person on board says they have a bomb. They don't.
Exactly.
And the people on board listen.
Exactly. And just to see, and it's exactly. And then they're never gonna find this person because
I remember when I was
gonna find that person, like,
right,
because they're not.
They can't be.
Exactly.
Sorry. What's up, Dan?
No, I was just, when they were talking about how lack the security was back then, I remember as a young boy, my dad took all of us and we went to, I grew up in northern Minnesota. So going to Minneapolis was like a huge event. And we went to the airport and we walked in the airport and we watched planes take off. And We did not go through any security. I didn't take my shoes off. I don't even think they looked through my mom's purse. I mean, it was like you walked into the airport, like you were walking into the grocery center, shopping mall or something, and just, just for something to do. It's
All right,
so, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, it was
Crumpy's firing on all cylinders tonight. The person who finds my treasure will be able to leave it for a year and keep their mouth shut to the point where I want it to end and can't remember who they are. Fen.
I don't remember
So
that.
that's Crumpy making up a new quote. But it leads me to a great point, and it's very self-indulgent. The kind of guy who finds my treasure is the kind of guy who can't keep his mouth shut. The ha solve at 9 Mile Bay. 9 Mile Bay's here. Big Mouth Canyon. The kind of guy who can't keep his mouth shut. That's next to Juniper Peak. As I sit beside my juniper fire. It's real. You guys are all just going to have to come to grips with it eventually.
I don't really know what you're talking about.
So Carter, coming back full circle to the slide I put up
will.
on August of 2020, you've got Jack, his attorney, Tom, Forrest, Sarah Davis, who was the chief ranger at that time of Yellowstone National Park, Chris Flesh, who was at that point the assistant chief ranger of Yellowstone National Park, and one or more representatives of the Department of the Interior. And we've never heard what happened in that meeting. As far as we know, there's never been any charges. No one's gotten
Right.
arrested. There's no record of it.
Exactly.
Besides what was presented in the McCracken
Shouldn't
discovery.
we hear about this? Shouldn't we know about this, Packer?
Just like the raid on Mar-a-Lago.
But-
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I didn't say that. That was
I love you.
I heard he had new codes. Anyway,
I had-
but why wouldn't Yellowstone advertise the idea that they took action against Forrest Fenn and his finder?
You know what? I'm gonna go hide a treasure in the park because I know I'm
Right?
not gonna get in trouble.
You know you're not going to get in trouble.
In fact,
Copper
BYD,
Dan-
I think we should all go in on it.
Bro,
100%. I'm in.
Great marketing.
Just DM
I'm
me.
in. Yellowstone has set the precedent. If you hide a treasure in our national park, it's okay as long as you tell us afterwards on a Zoom meeting. That is the public precedent they have set for the People's Park. Sorry,
True.
Yellowstone, I'm not going anywhere.
It's
like
true.
I mean,
this isn't
you're
going to
right.
end.
You know what we're going to call it, Davio? We're going to all
What?
be co-creators. We're going to call it Project 42.
Well,
I
wait
like
a
it.
minute. No,
I
call
like it a
44.
lot. Project
Yellowstone is
42.
44.
Project
Yellowstone.
42, Yellowstone. Why won't you tell us what you said to Jack Stoof and Forrest Fenn? Is it because Forrest Fenn said, hey, if I donated, about 600,000 or whatever, it's all good? He didn't say that, but that's what you're begging us to think he said for why you decided not to take action against the man in every other public interview and newspaper clipping where you say, these are the kind of problems the Forrest Fenn chase does to the natural habitat of Yellowstone National Park. They are on record. Sarah Davis is on record saying that the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt is a detriment to the National Park Service. And yet she lets him go?
Quick question. Since all of you are Midwestern,
Ooh.
Northern Midwestern to Western folks, have you ever heard of Operation Big Buzz?
Big Buzz?
Big Buzz.
Yeah, Big Buzz.
I thought that's
Well-
Tuesday for Ben.
Yeah,
That was the Blue Dream prerogative out of California. I mean, I heard
well
about
played, Packer Jack. Well played. That was well done.
Who's safer, Ben?
Operation Big Buzz, 1955.
digging.
No, 1955. Nobody ever heard of it.
Was the paraquat poisoning across in Mexico to stop the?
No, because it doesn't impact y'all's like where y'all live, like your region. So there's no reason for you to have heard about it. But the government the U.S. government instituted the U.S. military. So this is from Wikipedia. If you do it, so Operation Big Buzz was a U.S. military entomological warfare field test conducted in the U.S. state of Georgia in 1955. The test involved dispersing over 300,000 mosquitoes from aircraft and through ground dispersal methods. So in Georgia in 1955, they just airdropped mosquitoes infected with yellow fever and other things to see who would get it in 1955.
I love this country.
So this is like 15, 20 years
We're a
before.
laboratory.
No,
offense,
but it happens in the Southeast. It's rural. It's poor.
Yeah.
It's black.
It's just
I
that
mean,
I'm
I'll
listening
just go ahead and
first.
say that because
But you know what,
y'all-
Carter?
And
Justin Bieber still gets his pizzas down in Georgia.
I mean, I'm just saying. Canada's a great
He
place.
gets his weed in California.
You have a great voice, Bagger Jack.
He's a rapper on the side. It's the Jack Pack.
We should do it. We should do an EP.
This
I
is
keep
how
bringing us.
pathetic
I
this
keep bringing
country
us
is.
back. Copper Dan's going to get sick of me. Well, he already is. He's regretting it.
back.
I was the Copper Factory was like the McRib, and then Copper Dan quit it, and he just got that hankering one more time tonight to have one more McRib, and now he's regretting it.
like, fuck, why did I do that?
But
Copper Dan.
I keep bringing it back. Forrest's birthday remembrance. We're all here together because of him, which is awesome. And I don't know what's going to be in her channel, but it was great that she came on here, and the fact that everybody's celebrating Forrest is awesome tonight. And but August meeting, Zoom meeting, 2020. To Ben's point, that's a government. You know, the Department of the Interior, the Chief Ranger of Yellowstone, and the Assistant Chief Ranger of Yellowstone have to publicly record that meeting. When are we going to get that information?
How do we go about getting it? I'm sure
One would
people have
assume it's
tried.
actually happened. Yeah.
However, throughout all this,
The
and
family
I
is
could
safe.
be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be wrong. K Pro made
Oh,
a post within the last 24 hours that
Yeah.
stated that further reiterated that Shiloh is going to be writing some kind of book and almost taking the baton from Forrest and bringing it forward. There was nothing negative. There was nothing drama about her post. It was just, it
What'd she
seems
say?
as if Shiloh is kind of taking the next step here. Whether we have to
she
wait
said
for that,
or he did.
I was given a quote that K Pro posted on Thor. I haven't looked it up myself.
Ah,
I've
And-
heard that. I've heard that.
And that post stated that Shiloh is basically taken over.
take
He's
it.
going to Forrest, if you will, and now I'm paraphrasing, laid the groundwork, and Shiloh is taking that groundwork and making something original or new or the next chapter. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a Chase 2.0, but I would call it an epilogue, maybe.
Well, I mean, it came out when after they had the meeting, Cynthia and K Pro and Shannon were there, where it came out that Shiloh wants to write a book someday. So
Why a book? It's 2022, man. Make
yeah,
a
you and I,
television show.
right. Maybe
I'll see if I can get him on the Copper Factory.
yeah, maybe historically, Ben, because his grandfather did, not because that's the way he's going to get the most people and not use social media. And I would think it would be Shiloh, being younger than us, that he would be savvy enough to know how to use social media to promote something. But and then there's the whole question about, at the end of the day, when Jack's potentially selling this chest, does Shiloh say, "What's your best offer? I'll take it"? Because Shiloh's going to do a 2.0. None of us know whether that's going on or not.
What's Forrest Fenn's final wish? Jack even emailed me saying in February of 2021, I'm still trying to make Forrest's final wish happen, but it doesn't look likely, which means I have to take it to a public auction. Those were Jack's words. It sounded like Forrest Fenn's final wish was to sell it to somebody Forrest wanted it to be sold to.
Yeah, Jeremy, because I talked with him and he's on Discord and he says, do you think Shiloh's got his girlfriend, and do you think he's really going to sit down and write a book? Maybe not right now, but I think even if he did, it would be more well thought out, to Ben's point of using modern day, whatever full color pages today. It's not writing a book. It's you do stuff in conjunction with a YouTube channel, in conjunction with TikTok, in conjunction with social media, and you blow it out that way. And out of reverence for not a reverence for wood, but a reverence for the pages of your grandfather, you say, in my grandfather's footsteps, I will be authoring a book that accompanies all this.
Why do people think Shiloh would say, oh, I've read what's in the sealed olive jar?
Are you wearing a kilt, Copperdan? Are you wearing a kilt just now when you pan down there?
Pajama pants.
I'm glad I'm wearing pants. I didn't realize my camera fell there. I was typing.
Nobody's more glad that you're wearing pants than we are, my friend.
So what's Copperdan wear during a Zoom meeting? Hey.
Yeah, take it easy there, Jeffrey Tubin.
Guys, it's 10:46.
Oh my God.
It is a Monday night.
It's been fun.
It has been lots of fun. We managed to talk. We didn't kill each other. We didn't have to ban anybody. We didn't unban anybody. We just invited them on the show.
Cheers. Here's to Forrest fan, right? Cheers.
Cheers indeed.
I hope this community can come back together all the way. High life.
Well, don't you think trying to figure out what a clue and a hint is a way of getting to that? I mean, that's the fun part.
Davio, I'm gonna give you the most honest answer I could possibly give.
Please.
Every time you ask that,
yeah,
I instinctually hear you trying to say you're solved.
Well, isn't that people? Well, where is a confirmation? Has anybody showed anything like this?
I don't think anyone can unless they have the treasure chest. You don't. I don't. Jack does.
Well, what would keep you going if it was still out there?
What would keep me going if it was still out there? The only
fact
thing that
it's still out there, right?
The only thing that keeps me going is the fact that there is an olive jar with a story that no one has read before, that Forrest Fenn sealed, and even our finder has not opened. That is the only reason I am still here.
The olive jar. I can dig it. I'm more interested in what a clue and a hint is. The guy that gets to a location.
We will not know what a clue or hint is. Per Forrest's own words, you won't know if you've solved my treasure hunt unless you are holding the chest.
Right, and that's something that Jack doesn't know because he's not telling us.
Jack is in a picture with the treasure chest.
I'm not saying that he didn't go get it.
Look at Copperdan's already regretting that he came back for a one night only.
I just like 3 minutes ago was like, okay, guys, we're gonna wrapping it up.
All right, we're wrapping up. Sorry.
It just seems like the most important thing, and we don't get to know that. But Jack,
I agree. There's something missing, but we don't know.
You can come on over to the house husband.
As I said, none of us are owed anything. We don't deserve anything, but the fact that, it's great that stuff came out through a crazy person's lawsuit or a couple crazy people's lawsuits. But other than that, Jack Stouf's last email to the community was, I will let you know when the chest is sold. If he's a man of his word, he'll let us know when the chest is sold.
August 22nd, 2022. No chest sale. All you're doing, Jack, is proving the people who say you don't actually own the chest correct. Because what they said you can't do, what you'll never do, is sell the chest. Because you can't, you just simply can't. We're 2 years into it. You said you were a broke medical student with college debt, and you haven't sold the chest yet.
I know
about or he has, and we just don't know about it.
Ooh,
then let us know about it so we can fucking put
sneaky.
Or Copperdan's got it under his kilt right now.
Under, not over. Under.
Well, for me, this is the anniversary of I'm completely done with the Forrest Fenn part. Because the fun is gone. If nobody wants to work out what a clue and a hint is, collectively, because that seems like the fun part, then there's nothing to do. Wait for shit to come out later, absolutely, but
So kind of like a parting question for everybody on the panel. Thanks for having me. Is would it not be better to just say what the clues are and where it was hidden, and then we all get to sort of
yeah.
discuss and have our, moments or whatever, and then say, oh, I didn't think that, or oh, that was not, oh
Right.
yeah, I totally knew that, whatever. And then that's the place, and then everybody sort of just moves on in like a year or two, because
Why can't they at
treasures-
least
the
say what the
treasure's no
9
longer
clues are?
there. Like what?
Why can't they at least give us what the 9 clues were? We as
Whatever-
searchers
Yeah,
we
I
never
mean,
knew what the 9 clues were.
So my answer as I sign off is August 2020 Zoom meeting. What was agreed to in that meeting? Because when
Yeah.
Tom Hanasco sends a message to Carl Summer saying that if Jack gives testimony or does a deposition in the McCracken case and gives up the location, he will face potential criminal prosecution. Carter, I think that's your answer. Whatever happened with Forrest, Jack, Tom, Sarah Davis, Chris Flesh, and the DOI that then resulted in 2 years later, the DOI intervening in the McCracken case. And then when the judge said that has nothing to do with an estate case, you've had time to figure this out, that they then send a message to Tom Hanasco saying, if your client gives testimony, sworn testimony in a deposition or at trial in that case that leads to where this treasure chest was located, he will face potential criminal liability.
Yeah.
What
That's your
happens?
answer.
What happens when the olive jar is sold with the chest? Allegedly, the olive jar holds information that points to the treasure chest location. What does Jack do then?
Well, I mean, Packer Jack, you're saying so Ben, yeah, I get to that, but I'm Packer Jack. What you're saying is like that's the
never get
legal
it.
side. Like if you just like back out from the legal side, you're like, there's a bunch of people that just want to know where the treasure was, or like it's not like a legal thing. Like I get that it ends up in legal court, but there's just a lot of wandering people. And it's not like a legal thing. Obviously, the people at Yellowstone, the people that were involved, Jack, Forrest, whoever, Forrest Estate, are interested in the legal. But like the most of us are just like, we just want to know. Like we don't really like the legalities don't really bother us, like because they don't impact us.
They don't bother us, but I think, Carter, my response to you is
Yeah.
whether you like or don't like Cynthia, what she was trying to do is say the family, through allowing these emails to come out for discovery, are trying to give you as much closure as they can without violating whatever
I agree.
was going on with Jack. I
But
would say
again-
Davio would say it's all an elaborate ruse. And they all collaborated together to make you think that it was
Why?
at 9 Mile Hole and they're meeting with Yellowstone officials and the best is
know.
yet to come.
No,
So
No, it's done. It's over.
Out.
There's nothing else coming. It's over.
But again,
Treasure's found.
How do you sell this chest when it could possibly contain the location in which it was found via the olive jar? Yellowstone has said you cannot release information that reveals the location. So if Jack were to sell the chest and it has the location and it's revealed, then what?
Well, he's not going to sell the
Okay.
olive jar.
Have y'all okay, I said this I think with Christy a long time ago. Okay, so I've been contemplating putting out a video for this. So like y'all know my background. I have a master's degree in accounting. Like just I'm a dork. Because accounting is not cool. But like my view on like drug dealers is like you're not gonna like graduate from high school, you're not going to college, like you don't have an option of working your way into a 6-figure job. Like, you know, and but then if you make a 6-figure income, you're going to have to pay taxes, right? And then you're going to have to pay 25, 30%, 35%, you know, 37%. Thanks so much, government, for stealing 37% of our income. Not, you know, whatever, you know, not saying anything personally. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's like, why go to work if more than a third of your income is taken away? Drug dealers,
Hey, Carter,
on the other
Carter.
hand,
Carter, keep your thought going. I just want to interrupt you for 40 seconds. There's a guy named Jesse Pinkman who actually did exactly what you're talking about.
100%. Yeah, exactly. This is my point. Is that any sane human being that has like a sort of like decent IQ is like, I mean, I could make like decent money working in the real world, and I could get taxed at like a fairly large, you know, percentage, and that sucks. But maybe I'd be like high up on, you know, like the drug dealing list and like not have to pay tax because it's cash. And then you're like, you know, it makes, there's a certain continuum that makes sense on the like, you know, uh, um, risk reward, you know, scenario, like fault line. And I'm like, man, it's just really interesting. It's not, we don't talk about it because why would we talk about it, right? Like everybody just go do your ho-hum job, pay your taxes, whatever. Like only the broke communities and those people are the drug dealers, and, you know, whatever. But you're like, man, they make a lot of money and it's like tax-free, and that's crazy. So then you're like, okay, somebody's going to go hide a treasure in Yellowstone. It's illegal, but he doesn't care. And then if somebody else doesn't care, but then a law was changed in 2016 or whatever, that, you know, I mean, there are like things where you go, it just kind of like, it makes sense in a different way where you go, I see where we got ourselves in. Like we're in a complete and utter mess right now. But if you back out 10 years, maybe we weren't in a mess 10 years ago. Like when Forrest was like, this is my childhood, you know, fun time, whatever, my fishing area, whatever, it wasn't as regulated. I'm going to hide something. I don't really care about the new regulations. And then new regulations come in, he can't really like pull a treasure chest because it's already there. He's already written a book. What does he do? And so he's like, okay, like, I don't really know. And I think he made a scrapbook. He was like, I mean, you know, like things change. And then Jack finds it supposedly. And we're stuck with this like weird situation and we're trying to make sense of it. And I don't know that we'll ever be able to back in with the information we have, even if we know what's in the olive jar or whatever, because the information and the laws before when the treasure was hidden were different than what we have now.
Yeah,
That's
Carter,
it.
you know, we talk about the Condor 2 posts on the Reddit database and him saying Forrest didn't think of everything and this is a shit show. And if the
Yeah.
Condor 2 is Jack Stoof, he's saying,
There you go.
my God, how do I get out of this? How do I claim this
Yeah.
thing legally? How do I
Yep.
how do I do this and not get in trouble? And I think as we're getting ready to sign off here, everybody knowing what we know now, Ben, when we interviewed Dan Barbarisi and we said, would you, knowing what you know now, would you want to define the chase? And he's like, hell no, but we're still like, hell yes. Any of us would love to still find it because we were in it and we'd pay the taxes. But let me ask you a kind of yes or no question, not like Greg, but yes or no in the fact of, if you found the chest, if you were the person who found the chest, knowing what you know now, would you have taken it directly to the superintendent's office and let the chips fall where they may and hope that Forrest does the right thing? Or would you have actually packed it up in your car and taken it out of Yellowstone Park? Copper Dan.
I would have taken it. I would have packed it in my car and taken it And I would have pieced it out.
Ben Napple.
I would have opened the olive jar, read the story, and turned it into the superintendent.
Ashley Power.
Well, I'm glad that Ben clarified that he would not be calling me when any of that.
I'm sorry.
Ashley, knowing what you know now, would you have taken the chest out of Yellowstone, or would you have taken it to the superintendent's office, knowing what you know now?
Honestly, guys, I would have relied on my dashing good looks, and I would have just still taken the effing thing.
Brilliant.
I could just, show some cleavage to the superintendent and make it all.
Wow. This is a
Smart girl.
PG-13 show.
I don't understand.
You know what? I want to renege. I'm gonna take back my answer and change. I'm gonna change my answer. I would have. I do like what Ben said. That is a good point. I probably wouldn't have thought of that though at the time. Knowing what I know now, I think there would have been more money in the story than the hassle of keeping that chest, and I would have documented the solve and everything I needed for that to get it out to a media source like Discover, whoever wanted to bid the highest for the story. I would have turned it into the park and said, here's your chest. I found this. I'm turning it into you. Do whatever you want. And I would have went and wrote a book.
That is not.
But the finder was part of the media.
No, that is not where I thought you were going, Copperdan. I really thought you were going to say, and then I would have shown my cleavage, and I would have taken the chest. I'm sorry.
But honestly, the larger point, I agree, Copper, everything you're saying, I agree, but the finder was part of the media. He understands the importance of everything you're saying, of original photos, of photos in the moment, of the story corroborating it, of investigative journalists trying to poke and prod and pick apart the story. He's aware of all of that.
That was my point exactly.
And yet, this is what we're getting.
See how counterintuitive that is? I mean, the guy works in the media, and yet I choose just to take the $1 million. He could have parlayed that into
There's a
10
problem.
million.
Copperdan,
Easy.
the real question, Copperdan, the real question here is when Jack Stoof walked into that credit card lounge. I don't know what else to call it. When he walked into that
Centurion Lounge at JFK.
the Centurion Lounge. Packer, tell me if I'm wrong here. Okay. When Jack Stoof walks into the Centurion Lounge, when did he decide to tell you that he didn't find it on June 5th?
He didn't ask.
He said
Cut
back
out.
to back, but I
You
think he
said-
meant
ask it-
Copperdan.
Ask that again.
When Jack Stoof walked into the Centurion Lounge and he sat aside from Copperdan and they both shared a beer. When did Jack Stoof tell you, Copperdan, that he didn't find the chest on June 5th, 2020?
That's good.
Damn it. Okay, that's twice now. You keep. I thought you were messing with me because you keep my internet's unstable, and I totally lost the question 2 times in a row.
Copperdan's pulling the old
When,
So for the third
June-
time.
when June 5th, just ask the damn question. Don't give me this quick.
Did Jack Stoof tell you that he found the chest before June 5th?
No, he did not.
No.
Hooli
never
says
All right.
2 straws, 1 beer.
2 straws.
One straw, one beer.
Are you ever going to have the opportunity, you think, to talk to Jack Stoof again?
I
No.
don't think so.
That's interesting. Why don't you think so?
Copperdan said he thought so before the copper factory.
No, but seriously, and Packer Jack, let me explain why. I still think I could possibly talk to Jack Stoof maybe one day in 3 or 4 years. Why don't you think you can?
Statute of limitations.
He wasn't
I,
that good.
I just, yeah, I just think I think he's gone. I think he just doesn't want anything to do with any of this anymore.
He's out.
I'm really surprised. I think Jack may be surprised on why he can't, whatever is holding up the sale of this treasure chest. I'm sure he would like to just get it done and move on with his life.
What do you think the other half of the story is? Remember when Jack said he was following the fake Blaze and he's still trying to figure out everything. And then in that Medium article, he says,
Okay.
and that's not even half the story.
So I
Do you
pose a
think he has
question.
other things to tell?
Well, but I pose a question of here's the deal. Like, if you think this treasure chest and story is worth millions of dollars, and you're a medical school dropout, and you're maybe a part-time news article writer, you make, who knows, like 30, 40, $50,000 a year, like whatever. Like, but there's millions of dollars. Like, what is and this is where I was getting at, in my last thing, talking about drug dealing with cash, non-tax income, is if you were to be given an option of going to jail, prison, whatever, like white collar, it's like, okay, you took somebody's treasure out of Yellowstone. You're not going to like Alcatraz. I mean, I know Alcatraz is like, is closed, but you're not going with like the worst of the worst. You're going to white collar prison for 5 to 7 years, maybe 10. You're not like, you make $50,000 a year, 10 years, $500,000 a year. You got to pay taxes on $50,000 a year for 10 years. But this thing's worth millions of dollars. Your story is worth millions and millions of dollars. And if you go to jail, it's worth even more millions of dollars because you went to jail for it. Like, it's crazy. And then you go, okay, like, no, it's like, there's absolutely no reason in my mind for this not to just be like a done deal.
I get where you're coming from. I get why it blows you away. And I gave you the one reason because of the August 2020 meeting. And the other reason is the Michael Sexton death. And you potentially having to admit that you found have to admit that you found the chest in 2019.
Touche.
And then another guy died, even if he was a guy you think was an idiot who was in a completely different place.
Yes.
You then have to come out with the truth of all that, and then how you colluded with Forrest.
Yes.
To end the chase.
What is that? Yes.
So, and to Davio and Copper Dan's point, Davio says he's gone like the wind. He does not want to have to ever come back and deal with 2019 versus 2020.
Exactly.
Never see the jar.
One thing.
Right.
You're right.
So-
You're 100% right, Packer Jack.
So to
Never see the
Ben,
jar.
I kind of agree with Packer Jack, Ben. I mean, there's so much. There's a whole story to tell, and he's never told any of it. He never showed. I tried to get it. Like, I actually asked him, like, well, why don't you tell the story? And he just
You asked him that? You asked him that?
sidesteps. Yes, many times I've asked him that. I asked him that when we met. Like,
Thank you.
and he just sidesteps the question. He doesn't want to. It's like, and that's when all the pieces started coming together about Yellowstone. It started to make a little more sense, and that someone is holding him back from telling the story. Because the story would be so cool to hear.
It's a movie.
I think the story is worth more than it's certainly more worth the headache. What if he would have just turned the damn thing into the park and then sold the story? He'd have his money. He'd probably still get the treasure chest in the end of the day because he went through the proper avenues.
Can I throw in some context here, though? He is a journalist. He's a journalist who likes to buck the system. He likes to ruffle feathers. Don't you think that the journalistic integrity in him would love to say, fuck you, Yellowstone, fuck you, federal government. I'm going to tell this story and you can't stop me. That's how every journalist on this planet would operate.
I don't know.
Jack Stoof has chosen to silence himself.
Yeah, and
That's not what a journalist does ever.
And my whole point is, he probably, if hindsight being 2020, if you could interview him, I think I would suspect that he would say, if he was being completely honest, all cards on the table, he would say, I should have just fucking found it in 2019 and gone to the superintendent, and Forrest would have called off the chase then. Another guy wouldn't have died in March the next year. And I was trying to be, Forrest, it's all on Forrest. He left an S show for me, and I was trying to be too cute by one. I was trying to figure out how to get out of the taxes. I was trying to do an auction
blaming
website.
Him for the death. Nobody's blaming him for that search.
Nobody's blaming him for the death, but he still has to deal with all that. What if you're Michael?
He may blame himself for that death.
What if Michael Sexton's family says, even if you're going to end up being right, even if he's end up being vindicated, they could tie you up in court for years with a civil case on saying you've now admitted that you actually found Forrest Fenn's treasure in 2019. You didn't come forward. Searchers went out. Another one died. They happened to be a member of my family. Had you said, I found the treasure when you found it, you may not be criminally liable, but we lost a loved one because of it. We're suing you and the Fenn estate because of it, and we're going to take you to civil court. And we think we have a pretty damn good case to say, what the hell were you two doing making up the ending of a chase when searchers were still going out and another one died?
You know,
I'm not saying that they're going to be right or they're going to be found guilty, but it's going to be a hell of a lot of legal fees tied up.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But you know what? We all have a sad story in life. We've all been fucked over in life. We've all had bullshit happen to us in life. And if this is Jack's bullshit, it's too bad. So fucking sad. I'm done with this. I want the story. I want Forrest Fenn's legacy to reign supreme. I want it to be immortal. And if Jack Stoof's legal issues prevent Forrest Fenn from becoming an icon, I will stop it.
This is a family show, so could you please watch the F words, please?
I'm sorry, and I apologize for all F bombs.
Me too.
We've been throwing it around a little bit. So
That's an
I
interesting-
just don't want it. No, I've been trying
Go
to
on.
end this for 30 minutes, and now I got Ben mad.
I'm just keeping it-
We got to figure out how to end this on a happy note.
That's actually not Ben mad. That's when Ben and I get this way because we talk to each other this way. We're actually trying to think through. We're trying to think through, like, how would you get Jack out of this jail that he's in mentally on, I'm screwed. I can never, ever come out and tell the story. And now I have a Tom Hanasco, who's my attorney, saying, I'm advising you now on what to do.
This
and what
lawyer
not.
is part of the Fenn family.
It's
They
all the
admitted it.
family. The family wins in the end on this. Period.
Tom Nasco is somebody who understands and knows the Fenn family. They are on record saying they don't want a conflict of interest with him. And that's Jack Stoof's lawyer?
No, there's more things that point that the Fenn family needed to be saved from the shit show or the terrible show.
There's issues here, and powers that be, if they wanted to, could end and destroy every conspiratorial issue. They really could. It would take them all of 20 minutes to destroy everything. They choose not to. If they
Wait a
choose
minute,
not
how
to
many
because
people
of a
care?
legacy, if they choose not to because they want Forrest books to sell, if they choose not to because they don't know, I don't know. But they choose not to. Meanwhile, every single time Once Upon a While sells, that family makes money. Every single time Too Far to Walk sells, that family makes money.
Probably
They
on their
owe.
So the idea is that we all agree that an opportunity was lost by Jack as a writer to exploit how he found this. That is an opportunity lost. And strange,
It's either
it's strange that he
everything
didn't
is
seek
illegal,
that.
everything is illegal, and don't say anything, or everything is on the up and up. If it's in the middle ground, you lean with everything is illegal. It's very
All right,
simple. It's
I'm
one of
bringing it
three
full.
choices.
I'm bringing it full circle here, Copper Dan. 1948. Marvin Fenn writes in his fishing log, what did he love to do every day when he was in Yellowstone? Fish. He said, not fishing today. It's Bubba's 18th birthday. August 22nd, 1948. Same thing, 1949. Not fishing today. It's Bubba's birthday.
Bubba
And
doesn't
Forrest
fish
then
on
and
his
Forrest
birthday.
then went into the military right after that. And so the rest of the fishing journals don't talk about Bubba's birthday. But those 2 years, Marvin Fenn decided, I'm not fishing today. It's my son's birthday. And
Brilliant.
that's pretty cool when you think back on 1948, 49. And today is
That's-
August 22nd, 2022.
This day in 1948-49, Marvin Fenn decided, I'm not doing anything but celebrating my son. That's amazing.
That is cool.
That's amazing. And for it to circle back to maybe there's a fishing solve, maybe he wanted us to just learn about his dad, maybe he wanted us to learn about his family. We learned about him. We learned about his goods and his bads, and we're still talking about the man. He set out and accomplished what he wanted to do. And we're all better off for it, and we're all worse off for it. But I think Forrest would tell us that's life. That's adventure. It's up to you. So happy birthday, Forrest.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday.
Forrest. You know, for
Birthday,
me, being a
Forrest.
high school dropout, it's very rare that I should talk to people with degrees, and you all have degrees. So for me, it's always been a really interesting dichotomy of my perspective versus educated perspective. And those are the conversations which I enjoy having. So to that degree, you know, cheers to Mr. Fenn, who, you know, talked about those same things. Which is more important, the guy who works on cars for 4 years or studied 4 years, right? Same.
Right.
So these perspectives are all have value. And that's one of the reasons we love Copper Dan, because he accepts all these things.
Forrest, when I raid your property in San Lazaro on your 100th birthday, I hope your family doesn't arrest me or future family. That's all. Or sidetrack.
Copper Dan's already, he came back for one more McRib tonight. He's already got indigestion, I can tell.
McRib. I've had like 5 Big Macs, a couple of McRibs, some chicken nuggets.
Copper Dan,
Overwhelmed.
are you Copper Dan? Are you
Overwhelmed.
going to be in Colorado next year? In the next 365 days?
I don't have any plans to be at this moment in time, but you never know.
I hid Forrest's fishing flies there. No one's going to find them.
Didn't you
They
guarantee
can't.
Copper Dan one though?
Huh?
Didn't
Yeah.
you promise Copper Dan
Yes.
one?
No. Well, hold up. This is God damn it, Packer Jack. Let me set this up. I took 10 fishing flies out for the promises. But what I would like to do next year, this next searcher season, if you will, is maybe do a meetup in Colorado, not because of anything Forrest Fenn related, even though we're all Forrest Fenn related. There's no Colorado connection. There was no Colorado solve. But I would like to get everybody together who was in the chase and have this over Zoom, but I'd like to have this in a bar. I'd like to hear and shut up and listen to all the old timers just talking about the chase. And, you know, maybe somebody at the last second finds all of Forrest's fishing flies.
So we've narrowed it down to Colorado. You
Which
heard
I
it.
already did for
breaking news.
Breaking news. Well, we know it's in Colorado. It's what microbrew that it's next to where I'm trying to.
I just know you and
After
Ashley.
one beer, only one choice from here.
I just know you and Ashley pretended like you moved to Arizona so that you can actually now put the offer in on Fenn's house in Santa Fe. That's what's really going on.
Listen, if I convince my father to maybe sell his house, we could maybe buy Forrest's house. Maybe.
How cool are those photos? Has everybody seen the photos for Forrest's house?
Oh my God. I was searching for the whole time. And
he's
in
got the
Forrest's
books, his
closet
shirts.
where you just
His shirts are still in the closet. His hats.
Can you imagine someone buying that house?
Davio, looking at those photos
Which photos?
of Forrest's house is now up for sale in Santa
It's
Fe.
beautiful. Did you know it's only like 600 or 700 square feet?
Wait,
That can't be right. That's gotta be
No.
a type.
It's on
That's
like
the-
it's
that's
2.5
the
acres and
outhouse.
it's 4,000 square
That's the
feet.
one, you're right. It's gotta be a couple thousand.
his house is only
square feet.
4,000 square feet. Really?
4,000. That
There's like
sounds
then there's like a little guest house that Doug
In the
Preston could
back.
write books in.
Our house has more square feet. What the fuck? 4,000 square feet? That's it?
There's
I
only
would have said
two-
20,000.
There's only 2 bedrooms in that house.
Yeah, that's what was weird. It was very small, like hot. Air conditioning is expensive, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
he built
backyard,
it.
that backyard is that
Well,
backyard is something else.
Remember,
Kids
he had
to
the guest houses at the gallery for people to stay at, though.
That's
So-
way cool.
Oh, by the way, I have been working with my stepmom to get Suzanne Summers to do an interview with me. I am if it's 35 steps to get Suzanne Summers in her 70s to do an interview with you, normally cut that in half, but then cut that in half again because my stepmom knows her because they were also in like TV shows and movies together. I'm this close to
Do you know what you
getting
call that?
Suzanne
Do you know what
Summers.
you call that episode?
What do I
Heavy
call it?
loads, heavy loads, and water thigh master.
No.
T-Bird,
Suzanne
call
won't,
it the
she won't
T-Bird.
show up. She won't show up. You're too clever. You're too clever for Suzanne Summers, man.
Carter's too young to know that Suzanne Summers was part of the invention of what was called the thigh master, and it was an exercise
Bro, I
device.
know that. Don't
He
even
knows
try.
that. Carter
Bro.
is my age.
Hold
Yeah, he
on. No,
knows.
I'm older than Ben. Don't even.
Carter, how old are you?
42.
Yeah, you're 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Step
1980.
by step,
Oh,
day by
Suzanne
day.
Summers. Hold on. Bro.
Bro,
I gotta go. Dan's gotta go.
Bro.
I only have
Yep,
one
we gotta
question.
go.
No,
All
no.
right, guys.
I had
Tell me
one
about.
question.
Oh, fine. We were about
Are
to
we
talk
talking
about
about how hot
Suzanne.
Suzanne
All right.
Summers is?
Ben
Carter,
and I are
have
gonna
you-
go to Ben.
Carter,
we'll go to
have
Dis.
me on your show and we'll talk about Suzanne Summers.
We're gonna go to Discord, right, Ben? We'll be on
We'll do it.
Discord,
Ah!
or I don't know if Candy's still on. I don't know if Candy's
She
still
is.
on.
I'm on their show and I'm
Guys.
on your show.
All right,
have fun,
guys.
Candy.
Davio, let her know we're ending. So, all right.
Okay, I'll
Robert
tell
Ann,
you
thank
guys.
you so
a number. I
much,
have
man.
one question for Ashley, and that's would you consider yourself an empath?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay, so that's yeah. I'm just learning about that, and I would love some words in this particular area if you have time someday.
Yeah, I've missed you. So let's talk.
That would be nice because things have happened. I'm learning. Oi, I should talk to my. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
You two talk. Copper Dan,
Yeah.
thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank
man.
you. Hey,
I
much
wanna-
love,
Guys.
everybody, and happy birthday, Dan. You're the fucking man. We love you all. Ciao.
I
See,
got it.
Davio. Ben.
Know how big Noah was. What was his birth weight? Did he already leave?
He left.
God dang it. Oh, you never let me talk, guys. All right, I'm going to do algebra homework.
He was 16 pounds 4 ounces.
Why is that a problem, Ashley? You're rolling your eyes.
I have a large baby. My large.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. Packer Jack was talking shit. Got it. Thank you, Copper Dan. Appreciate it, man. Love you.
Guys, everybody, it's been